So hi, welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with...
And Will from Creeper.
And we have some questions to say about the upcoming album, Sanguivore. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really cool so far. It's obviously only 2 singles out just yet, and it comes out on Friday the 13th of October. So we've got a couple more months to go just yet, but it's been a wonderful response so far. We did a couple of festivals. We did Download Festival and the Slam Dunk over here. And it's been brilliant. It's been a really exciting response so far. So I'm excited to get more into it,
Hell yeah. Well, checked out the full album this morning. It's quite the trip. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
Thank
you
you
guys
very much.
Nailed it. The opening track, not going to lie, it scared me a little bit when I saw it was nearly like 10 minutes long. But once I got into it, dude, fucking killer record. Genuinely so fucking good.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that first one's been it was quite a hard one to come to, because we've been trying to do a big long one for a long time, but every time we started writing it, it never quite worked out. And this time around, we finally got to do something, and I think we're kind of most happy with this one after trial and error for so many years.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so Sanguivore is the Italian word for a blood-sucking animal. And the idea was that most people wouldn't know what it meant when you first heard it, and that it would kind of force the listener to interact with the album before you even listen to it. So by looking it up or having to go and kind of have a to and fro with the record, and kind of the way that when you listen to vinyl, you have to go up and physically interact by flipping a record over. Yeah. I think that's kind of an art that's kind of lost sometimes with this modern age of things. So having the idea that the album title itself involved you interacting with it was exciting for us. On top of that, it sounds like a kingdom, like a world. It sounds like something larger than life. As far as the album art goes, that is by an artist called Welder Wings, and they did this amazing job kind of realizing a character. I sent them a massive brief over about one of the protagonists of the album, a character called Mercy, and it was about I wanted a Renaissance-looking painting, something that looked like it was timeless, that it already existed, and that it'd been there for years and years and years. And I was kind of referencing like the cover of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac or something like that, where it's like this larger than life kind of like you kind of feel like you recognize it, it's a familiarity to it, but it's brand new as well. So yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Hell yeah, you guys nailed the aesthetic on this one.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
Yeah, it was written. It was kind of like a return to form for us. On our first record, we wrote very much just in rooms together, and on the second record, we wrote a lot of it in Los Angeles. So this time around, it's been a return to form in terms of like us writing just sitting in a room and doing it together over here in England. Some of it was written. I live in this converted church, and so some of it was written in this church. And Tom Dalgety, who you might know, who worked with Ghost and the Cults and the Damned. Rammstein and lots of these acts. He also lives in a converted church, so we wrote it into very old converted churches here in England, and I think it's kind of added to the mystique of the record. And then when we went to record it, we recorded it at Rockfield, which you guys might know is the same studio they recorded Bohemian Rhapsody, Iggy Pop, lots of very famous records there. So it's kind of been recorded and written and recorded in some very historic buildings, should we say?
Absolutely. And earlier you mentioned like they're one of the protagonists of the album. Is this like a concept record?
Yes, this is a concept record. It's a vampire concept record. All of the records we've done so far have been based around concepts, and often our real life will drip and feed, and kind of the colors will blend into the concept itself. So, and that's much the same with this one. So this record kind of sees the protagonists of Spook and Mercy and their kind of relationship, and kind of charts their relationship from the beginning of it until them giving themselves to the sunlight at the end in the song More Than Death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, because while listening through it, I was like, I think this is a concept record, but I didn't know until the ballad came up, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, oh, fuck. This is so obviously like, and then I was able to follow it just kind of after listening to the ballad. I was able to follow and be like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is, oh my God, no. And then they fucking done. I was freaking out, but awesome. Well done.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Mhm. So what song off this album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Oh, that's hard. So the one that's the longest to write, I think, would be the first one, Further Than Forever, just
Mhm.
because the way a song like that kind of comes, and the genesis of something like that, it comes from there was a piano part that I'd written a while ago, and I've been working on. Every time we go into like a green room and there'll be a piano there, I'd be playing it, and working
Mhm.
on it. It kind of been in the back of my head for ages. And then I had this kind of Bruce Springsteen-esque kind of verse, and we had all these different parts really, and it basically resulted in us kind of getting together and putting it, trying to mold loads of pieces together. And as I
Mhm.
said before, so often those things don't really work. On this occasion, it was really great because Tom, who produced the record, has a massive love and understanding of very similar influences to us. So the Jim Steinman records, those massive long power ballads,
Mhm.
big penchant of his. So like your Meatloafs and your Bonnie Tylers and all those people. He was a
Yeah.
big love of that overblown nonsense that I love so much, the musicals and things. So
Yeah.
that was a really hard one. My favorite song, it's very difficult because it changes, and I'm very attached to a lot of them on this one. I really like this song Black Heaven, on the second to last song, the penultimate
Mhm.
one on this record, just because it kind of sees us doing things we hadn't done in the past. So it's like lots of kind of electronic elements, and
Mhm.
yeah, lots of kind of and it has a really cool outro with Hannah, our keyboard player, and I singing back and forth to each other, as part of the story going into the ballad next. And it was
Mhm.
kind of riffing on a Nick Cave song, Hallelujah, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds song at the end. And yeah, we've got to mash a lot of things together and try a lot of ideas we'd
Mhm.
never done before. So I'd probably say that one.
All
Hell
right.
yeah. Good pick.
So how did the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer? Did you shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
So we used to, when we used to write these concert records, we used to get a big whiteboard out and write like a blueprint of how the record should flow. So you'd have like a how they like you structure it like a musical, or like you were writing a book or something, like a story structure. But it became very problematic that because you'd end up you could get stuck on a song that needed to
Mhm.
bridge one part to another, and you could end up with this something rubbish on there. And it was really easy to do it because you were so desperate to try and complete this piece. This time around, it was a lot simpler, a lot smoother. And on our last record, I think you wrote like kind of lots of songs, almost like 60 songs, where we had to bin loads because
Jesus.
they were the best. But this new one, we did all these ones, and there was two more we didn't make it. But the two that didn't make it this time around could easily have made it if there was the vinyl playlist would have been a bit longer, because
Mhm.
otherwise we're gonna have to squeeze it onto two pieces of vinyl, which would have made it really expensive. And I wanted the record to be able to be bought by anybody, and I didn't
Yeah.
want it to be exclusive to people who have money. So we left two off. But in terms of structuring it, the first one had to be that one really, because when it introduces our character, the character Spook straight away, and his descent into becoming a vampire,
Yeah.
and it where else do you put a 9 minute song, because in the middle of a record it would be kind of laborious and arduous to get through, I think. And
Yeah.
at the end you made like I kind of felt like when you open with something like that, it kind of proves to the listener that the record could take some twists and turns, and you're kind of in for a journey. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, to kind of expect the unexpected. So yeah, it was all very carefully considered, but in a bit of a different way to how we have done in the past.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And for those two extra songs that didn't make it to the record, were those like fully formed, or were they just kind of demos?
Oh no, they're done. We recorded them. One of them is called Phantom Fantasia, and it's kind of a Leonard Cohen-esque kind of sounds like "Dancing to the Edge of Love," if you know that song. And but Hannah sings it on her own. It's a song we wrote for Hannah, and it's beautiful. It's really really pretty.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there was just no time at that moment. It was one of the last minute additions, and
Mhm.
the other one is a song called "Love and Pain," which kind of sounds like a Scott Walker. If Scott Walker was in Joy Division or something, which is bizarre. Yeah, it's really really fun. Both of them are really great songs, but
Mhm.
sadly there was just no time left.
Damn. So will they ever see the light of day as like a B-side or anything?
I'm really hoping that the label will do a 7 inch. I'd love to do a 7 inch, but
Absolutely.
just because I love physical formats, and I think it's kind of something and then when you stumble across, you go to a record store and you stumble across a 7-inch, you take it home. That feeling's really nice, especially when it's something special and you haven't got it on the album. But I'm not sure. But I sure hope so.
Manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Well, I was back and forth I live in Manchester, so I was back and forth from Manchester and to where Tom lives. So emotionally, we were probably in the most kind of most calmer points in our career today, because we just come out of the pandemic on the last one, and at the end of it, and this time around, the world had a chance to kind of settle down a little bit, and I think it kind of, the conditions about writing this, will be to sign to a new record company, and we had this great idea. We had this plan to make this record for a triptych of kind of concept records. Is the third one. That all have different concepts, but 3 different concept albums. We had this for a while, and so having a chance to do it, having a decent budget, and doing it in the UK was really helpful, because doing the last one in Los Angeles was great, but it meant a lot of traveling and a lot of time being away from home. It was a lot of a calmer experience, and I think that led to us kind of having a level head when it comes to writing, and being able to sit behind a piano and just really kind of flesh things out. That's really helpful, and nothing terrible happened on the last album. So many things happened that were really challenging. So this time around, I think it's kind of made the record more cohesive as well, because we were in a very positive, calm headspace, and and I think it made the performances better too. I hope, at least.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to hear that.
Obviously, schedules permitting, is the plan to kind of like always write at home from this point forward, now that you guys did the LA thing and then did the home thing again, and obviously preferred that?
I'm not sure. I think we've changed it up each time. So the last one was written in where we were from, and it was down to down in Southampton, and when so it was our original hometown. This one was somewhere different. I think it kind of keeps you on your toes and forces you to kind of go in a different direction when you change things up. But it's certainly very tempting to continue this kind of healthy run we've been on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you wonder whether that's good for creativity or not. Because sometimes some of the best art is born from being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, there's no winning. There's no winning. Damn.
It's true.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should you do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Jim Steinman used to tell this story about Jimmy Iovine, and what would happen is there's this whole story about, he was mixing a record and Jimmy was panning a guitar left and right, and Jim Steinman walked in the room and said, "Why are you doing that? No one's going to even notice that." And he said, "Well, I do these little things on my records. They're these tiny little things, but in the hope that one kid in Connecticut listens to it underneath the bed covers with a Discman on. And I do it all for him, this imaginary kid." So I think music's great that way. I think it's a very personal thing. Of course, it's wonderful when you're at a concert or you're with your friends, but I think to me, music's a very personal thing. So I try to kind of adopt some of that ethos and kind of write for the kid that's like I was when I was younger. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed a lot of music when I was younger on my own in my parents' house, and I try and write for a younger version of myself, I suppose, who might notice the nuances and things in between. So perhaps that would be my answer, I guess.
Okay.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah. So this one should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Bombastic, romantic, and tragic.
Damn, had those fucking locked and loaded. Okay.
So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I think I would like them to be inquisitive and to listen with an open mind. These are, the record takes, you guys have heard, like it takes kind of quite a lot of turns, and stylistically and kind of emotionally, it chops and changes, and it's demanding of you. If you're looking for this party songs, we just don't do just that sort of stuff. It's not really our band, but like if you're looking to go on a journey, if you're looking to, I always think about it like, finding an old book in an attic or something and blowing the dust off, and then not knowing where it takes you. And I think that is the try. I'd like people to kind of approach the record with a similar sort of curiosity, and hopefully with their own imagination, and to kind of go on their own journey with it.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah. All right. So, are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this album, positive or negative?
Oh, it was. It's not been that challenging in terms. It's been challenging in terms of trying to, I guess, like working out how when some songs are like for example, a song like the Ballad of Spook and Mercy, and you sandwich that up against something that like Sacred Blasphemy, the song before, which is a fast kind of it's like a type of negative song or something. It's challenging to try and fuse these things together to not make it sound jarring. And what we tried to do a lot of that is kind of with guitar tone and feel with the drum kit and stuff, like to try and make it kind of a consistency across. So making this whole thing stick together, which sometimes it's easier said than done,
Yeah.
But so that was very challenging in terms of that. But in terms of the practicality, it was. I suppose these are harder songs for me to sing than they have been in the past. There are lots of different kind of voices going on, and doing different things with my voice, and trying to get the temperament with that right. Trying to mix something that's as long as Further Than Forever without it becoming fatiguing, and difficult. And also like we've been trying to shed a lot of the more contemporary influences that we had on our last record. So that was another challenge too. And kind of the jury's out on whether that's been a success or not. That's not really for me to say. So yeah, I'd say those things really.
Right.
Okay. And because you said that the vocals were a little more challenging on your end for this record, are you beginning to regret that now with kind of live performances and kind of having to do that live in front of thousands of people?
Yeah, I think yes and no. We just did Teenage Sacrifice and for a video for that song, and I was saying to our producer the other day, I said, "Oh God." I remember we were writing it in one key, and I asked him to put the key up so I could sing it in that really high range and some of the really high notes in that. And then I forget. You just forget. Oh God, I've got to do that every night now.
Yeah.
So yes and no, but it's really fun to do on a record, like when you're in the room with it, and it sounds great on a record. But it's going to be interesting to see how much I can pull off.
Yeah, you're
going to
adapt
those
it
long
now.
doors. Yeah, exactly.
So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
It depends where I am in the world, because I have a plant-based diet. So, like over in Europe, it's just crackers because they don't have anything else other than that. You guys have like loads. Like America has a lot of stuff, and Canada has a lot of good stuff. Over here, what do I eat? Really, it's difficult, really, because I guess I drink a lot of coffee on tour, but that's not a snack. It doesn't really count. I guess like a cup noodle or something like that.
Okay.
Something warm would be good for me. Especially like cup noodles good because of my voice as well, just having steam and inhaling steam. So something like that, perhaps.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Oh God. It would be it would be, let me think about that. It would be like a lasagna or something, because there's lots of different layers to pull back from it, and each time you kind of take a bite of it, you could get a different bit, and you don't know where it's going. So yeah, some sort of sloppy lasagna, I guess.
Okay, I think that's one of the first times a band has used like the lasagna analogy, and it's actually made sense. I get it with your band.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Thanks.
So for the last couple of questions, I'm going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Oh, okay. I would have. I think I would have spaghetti. I love like Italian food in my house. We have loads of it in all the time. It'd be really boring. I'd have a really boring meal. It would be so boring. I'd just have spaghetti. I'd have chopped tomatoes. I'd have some vegetables, and for a drink, I'd have a glass of red wine, I think. I think I'd have. That's so fucking boring. I know, but that's probably what I'd have.
It's classic. It's comfort food.
Yeah,
So
nice
it's
hearty
fine.
meal, you know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, last thing you want is like your stomach hurting because you went a little too crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, and if you're going to the other side, you want to drink the blood of Christ. Like it's you don't know who you're dealing with.
Why the hell not, right? So I want you to pick one fictional world to live in for 1 week.
Okay, fictional world. Jeez, I would like to. That's hard, that one. I would like to live in the world of Twin Peaks, I think, for a week. I think that would be a really, really fun place to live. I'm not quite sure why, because it's quite a dangerous place. I went to Twin Peaks once, in Seattle, but they filmed it.
Okay.
You ever been there?
No.
Like they have the waterfall, the hotel and stuff. We were playing down the road with Neck Deep,
Okay.
and I came across. But yeah, I was probably go there. I think that bizarre world that David Lynch created would be kind of suitable for my temperament. I think that would be a good place to live, and plus, I could eat loads of cherry pie. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's awesome.
All right.
Hell yeah.
So I've known of asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Oh, probably purple. I think purples are the creeper color as well. So, and I think that's why we chose it. In professional wrestling, The Undertaker used to have black and purple as his colors years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we stole it from.
Okay.
Really? The Undertaker. You guys big wrestling fans?
I'm a big wrestling fan. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. That would have been crazy. You're like, no, not at all. I actually just thought it was cool. Good to know.
Exactly.
So as I said, that's all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Oh, just the record. The record comes out on the Friday, the 13th of October. And yeah, I would love people to check it out. If you're into any of those sorts of things we've been speaking about, I think you'll really get something from it.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for now. It's been Will from Creeper, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.